All right, good evening, everybody. We are live with another episode of Release the Quacken. This week, we're going to talk about a little bit of how our week 24 of our marathon training went and what's coming up on week 25. We got a light crew tonight. Unfortunately, we have some holiday plans and stuff that's going on with people. But we do have a special guest here today who is no stranger to Disney podcasting. So I'm pretty sure with his help, we can kind of carry the show here for a half hour or so. Tonight, we're joined by the Super Looper from the Resort Loop. We're joined by one of the Disney dads, a Be Our Guest Lizard. We have Mr. Joe Quattrochi here with us. How you doing, Joe?
Jeff, what's up, brother? I think I scared everybody away tonight. I don't know, but yeah, I think I am more of a nomad within the Disney podcasting community. But yeah, had a great time at the Resort Loop. Still keep in touch with Bob and Tim. Jump on their show every once in a while. The Mickey dudes as well. Great group of guys over there. But kind of full time with DDP today. You know this. It's really hard to. There's always so much time in the week, right, to do so many shows. So I try to jump on the other ones as much as I can. But this is awesome. I'm so glad you guys reached out to me, especially since you guys got me through my 7-mile run today, doing the half coming up for a marathon weekend. So your last episode got me through my 7-mile run. So it's good to be here. To hopefully I could maybe get somebody else through their run coming up this past week. So
sounds good. So just a little bit of recap. This weekend, we're supposed to do our 245s, and we had a 7-mile run coming up on the weekend. My week, I did neither of my 245 runs. I went for 7 today. I got about 5.5 in before a storm started to roll through. So I just kind of called it at 5.5, and we'll regroup and see what next week brings. So you said you did 7 today, Joe?
Yeah, I just got 7 today. I'm kind of like, I know you guys are big on the Galloway plan. A lot of you guys are doing Dopey. I'm just doing the half this year. I did Dopey back in 2015, and that was a kind of a one and done. I had a blast doing it, great memories. But I like to maybe just do like one race, kind of make it more of a quality weekend. It's just a lot going on when you're down there doing like 4 days in a row. But yes, I'm just doing a half this year. I just got 7 in today. I was supposed to run yesterday on Saturday, but just didn't happen. And just running around doing Christmas stuff with my wife. And because she was going today to Disney, she's in the world for a couple days. Actually, I'll be there Tuesday night for the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. It's my first time going to the Christmas party, so I'm super excited about that. But yes, I kind of delayed my run a little bit, but got the 7 in. It wasn't the best run. Like I said, I'm a little bit, not the peak shape I want to be in right now. I'm a little heavier than I used to be for a lot of the Disney weekends that I've done in the past, but I'm getting through it. I mean, it's just we had nice, cool weather here in Central Florida, but it just wasn't. You have good runs and bad runs. Today was like, it was okay. It wasn't the best, but I got through it. So got a couple more runs this week. Before we hit the taper town, and but yeah, we'll get there. It'll be fun. It'll be a good time. I love marathon weekend. It's my favorite.
So how many of these have you done? Like Disney races in general, and then you said marathon was your favorite. So
Disney. So I go back 2014. I ran the marathon itself. That was my very first marathon, and had a blast. 2015, I did Dopey, and then I remember doing. I've done 2 race weekends out in California. I did the Disneyland half marathon weekend. I think that was in 2014 as well. Because I remember that was a couple weeks before I got married. And then I did the Tinkerbell half marathon weekend as well out in Disneyland. So it was actually really cool to be able to run out in Anaheim. I'm really stoked that's going to be coming back within about a year or so. I think a year coming up, whatever. So it's a much different experience. If a lot of your audience has never run out in Anaheim, it's a really different experience than Walt Disney World. The weather's great, but it's a different experience because you're in the city of Anaheim. But I've done that. I've pretty much done the half marathon every year during marathon weekend. I've also done the Star Wars, the Dark Side, I guess. It was one of the years that we ran it where we started from the Magic Kingdom parking lot. It was a weird year. But I've never done Princess. It's been on my list. Usually the Princess weekend falls during the same weekend as the Daytona 500. And for anybody who doesn't know it, I'm a huge NASCAR fan living in the Daytona Beach area. And I don't miss the Daytona 500. So that's not going to happen. And I've never done Wine and Dine. And since they moved it to a traditional morning start now, it hasn't really, I haven't really
not
had
the same draw.
Yeah, I really wish they'd go back to the nighttime. I know they had the weather issues a bunch of times over the past years, but I miss having an after party afterwards and everybody in Epcot just kind of hanging out. So I don't know, but I've done a lot of the races. I've really enjoyed it. I can't wait for the Anaheim ones to come back. I'd like to sneak in another race out there one of these days. But yeah, I mean, marathon weekend, I call it like a homecoming. It really is. Like, I mean, like I said, I'm a lizard number 300. I've been a BOGP lizard for a long time. Like I said, the Rocketeers are Resort Loop. We have the DDP Sorcerers I'm a part of right now, but I know so many people that are part of the Lizards, Roman and Bankhead, Scotty G, there's so many great people I've met over the years, Florence Porter. Um, it's such a great group of people. And, so I always make it my business to go and do the meetups and say hi to mics, to the mics and stuff. So it's a homecoming weekend. It really is. So I really look forward to it every year.
Well, that's where we met you last year, was at the Contemporary to meetup. We got to talk.
That's a great spot. And the DDP Sorcerers were looking to do a meetup as well. And I suggested, I said, look, I'm like, I've done the BOGP meetups. I do them every year. And they do it at the outer rim at the Contemporary. It's a great spot to meet. There's places to get a great group photo and stuff. I think they're going to do it at the boardwalk, but I did kind of throw it out there because you guys have done such a good job with doing a meetup there. It's a great location.
I think the Lizards are moving theirs to the Poly this year too.
Is it? I mean, I've been so out of it, man. We were just talking a little bit before. It's like so much going on, but it's within the monorail group. It's all the same thing.
It's all the same.
So what other stop,
So with you doing just the half marathon, not minimizing just running a half marathon, you got a lot of other activities you got going on, being part of other groups and everything. So there's probably a lot of meetups and things that you're going to be doing and talking with people. So
yeah, I'm just going to try to meet up, but just to see like the people you see online. It's no different. It's no different than what you guys all do, right? What you meeting up, seeing friends. I always say this, that like the Run Disney weekends are a business trip. That's like my famous, like, I probably should make up a t-shirt that says this is a business trip. You got to take care of your body, take care of yourself when you go down there, because it doesn't matter if you're running it for fun and you just want to run it for pictures. You don't want to be miserable. Because I'll tell you, that second weekend I went to Anaheim, I didn't take my advice for Tinkerbell weekend. And I was there with my wife and our friends, Brittany and Justin, very good friends from Tampa. And we hit the parks hard in Anaheim. And I was a mess for the half. It was only half. I was a mess. Not good. I think by mile 6, my legs were so crapped out. But, I didn't take my own advice. So I really try to treat it as, like I said, a business trip. But I also want to try to meet up with the Lizards, try to meet up with the obviously the DDP, the Sorcerers Club. It's like you want to try to be everywhere and everything, but you also got to make sure you're in bed at night, make sure you eat the right things. So I think I've got this down now, where I'm not like killing myself, where I could pop in here and there and say hi and get some pictures and see some people I really wanted to see. So I think I'm good. To me, it's a shorter weekend now, being kind of local, being within the Daytona Beach area. I'm only like an hour and 15 minutes away. I still stay on property. I'll still be at Saratoga Springs.
That's a shocker.
Yeah, I know. You guys love it. I love that place. I'm at Coronado this week, so it's gonna be a little weird. But that's our home away from home. We love it. And I actually love it. Everybody knows that I love it. It's like the underdog resort. But yeah, it'll be fun. There'll be a lot going on. But it'll be a great week. I'm really looking forward to it. And I hope the weather stays good. I really hope. The one thing I always look for is that it's gonna be a great weather weekend for everybody, especially the dopey runners, because the last thing you want is to run in crappy weather. You spend a lot of money, a lot of time training, and you want it to be a great experience. Right. In Central Florida in January, it can be hit or miss. We all know that.
Yep. So why is Saratoga your home away from home? What is your draw to that resort? Because anytime I see you're down there, that's where you are.
We love it. I mean, it was our home resort, right? So you could always get, it's the resort of last resorts, right? Everybody talks, but I love it. You guys all know I'm a huge golfer. I love LBV. So that's where, it's housed there. It's at Saratoga Springs. Jen and I just love it because we just love the way it's laid out. It's really quiet. For your listeners that don't know, we don't have any kids. So a lot of times when we go to the parks, we just want to come back and kind of be left alone, and it's super quiet. And when you're staying in some of the other resorts, like, Boardwalk or Poly or wherever, right? I'm saying, like the ones that have a lot of action going on, it's busy. And it's a lot of times when we come back from the parks, we just want to sit in the pool, relax, be in the hot tub. Nobody bothers you. And Saratoga has that. And we love going to downtown Disney Springs, same thing. Disney Springs. It's great being so close. And also too is we love parking our car right in front of our building too. Being locals, we have a car every time. We just park it right up front. And you know what? It's one of those things that's no different than if you've got a group of people that stay at Pop or at Port Orleans or wherever. My wife and we have a lot of memories there. I mean, we just love staying there. A quick story is during COVID, friends of ours had some points that were going to expire, and their home resort was Animal Kingdom Lodge. And they were from upstate New York, and they said our points are going to expire. This is when the resorts had just opened up. They said that we can get you 2 weeks at Saratoga Springs in a studio or a week in a 1-bedroom at Animal Kingdom Lodge. What do you want? And we literally worked from the hotel room at Animal Kingdom Lodge. And I remember there was like no cars in the parking lot. It was like
Right.
creepy, right? But I remember we were there for like 3 days, and Jen was like, my wife was like, she was like, "Miss Saratoga Springs." I said, "I do too." We loved it. I mean, we had a great stay. It was nice and quiet. We loved waking up and seeing, the animals, the zebras out in the savannah and stuff.
Yep.
But you like what you like, right? I mean, so, and it's one of those things, like, I like it. People call me Saratoga Joe. Like, I think it's great, so it's my spot. I love it. And I love it that I could always get a room there. So,
Yeah.
which is pretty good. So that's kind of how that happened.
It's got the refurb recently too, so that's nice too. You got brand new rooms across property, and
They look great. And I just saw the refurb schedule from the condominium. They were showing some pictures online, and I saw Boardwalk is coming up, and Boardwalk needs it bad. We stayed there this past summer. I was like, this is not good. So I'm glad at Boardwalk, because that's actually another resort Jen and I also like, and it definitely needed some love after this past year. We're like, oh, this is not good. So
yeah, we stayed there for Wine and Dine last year, or for this last fall.
Oh, great location. Absolutely.
It is. You can't beat it for that. And I only did the 5K with a family. We didn't do the whole races, but I walked down to the boardwalk to cheer the other two. So for convenience wise, but the rooms needed some love. And it's actually really hard to get. We tried to book it for the summer for me and my daughter to go down. And because the refurb, typically at 7 months, you can usually get something at the boardwalk. It's a little harder, but there's something available and nothing at all.
Yeah, you might get a preferred room because the value rooms will go first, whatever. But I really wish, though, man, that they would allow you to walk through like the International Gateway to start. I mean, because like if so many people stay in Boardwalk Beach Club, even Swan and Dolphin, that would be so convenient just to walk through there right to the start instead of getting on a bus and all that stuff. I know there's logistics. It would take a lot of cast members to do that, but it'd be so nice just to walk through right there.
That's a long walk, though. If you're walking from Boardwalk all the way back there, I don't necessarily know that I don't want to do that in the morning.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm kind of thinking about it. Yeah, if you're going with, that's actually a good point. All right, take that back. You changed my mind on that.
So when you stay at Saratoga, do you drive to the races then, or do you?
No, I take transportation, man. Let the bus drop you off right where it's got to be. I'm the guy who's on like the 2:30 bus. Usually at the buses, I think it's at 2:00 or 2:30, like the first buses. I get there early. I have like my routine. I'm very like particular when I run races. I've done so many of them. Like I want to get there early. I want to look. We're all runners. I want to go try to use the restroom. You know what I'm saying? Like, and not be rushed. I want to get through security, no problem. Security's been great. I mean, I remember when they used to actually check your bags. Now with those new systems are absolutely amazing. So security's a breeze now. But yeah, I like to get there early, meet up with some friends, not feel rushed, warm up a little bit. Even though it's about a mile walk during marathon weekend to the start, I still don't like to. There's nothing worse than rushing to a corral. I've been pretty lucky enough where when I've run the half, unlike many other people, I actually run it for speed. The first year I ran the marathon, I took all the pictures in the world. Now the only picture I usually take now is a castle photo. I'm lucky enough to start usually in the A or B corral. I'm in the front, so it makes it easier to grab that castle photo.
Right.
But I get so amped up for these races, running on Disney roads, counting monorails, running through the toll plaza, running through the TTC, which is actually one of my favorite things to do, is running through that TTC where you're finally seeing people for the first time. I get geeked up, man. And I got to look at my watch. I'm like, dude, I can't be running the 7:30 pace. I got to slow it down here a little bit. So, unlike most people who, I have a lot of friends that like really get into the characters, I actually run it hard, but that's what I like to do. And I know this year, though, that's not going to be the case. I'm running it with my brother, who is a very slow runner, and we just want to do it together. So I'm just be like a nice jog out there. But yeah, it's but I definitely like to run the race hard. I mean, it's but I have like my routine I like to do, and so I'm usually on that 2:30 bus. I usually will take the bus to and from the start. That's actually one of the bigger perks of staying on property for marathon weekend, because the traffic can be really bad. Trying to get an Epcot, you don't want to deal with that.
Yeah. Now, for the people who are staying at Saratoga and the other resorts with an internal bus loop, do you have to go to one central meeting place to pick up your bus, or do all the different stops take you to one, or how's that work?
Oh no, Saratoga. It's the stop there's just one stop, and it's right in right by the High Rock Springs pool. So in like the Springs area, where the main pool is, that's where it picks up and drops off. So even if you have a vehicle, just drive it to the buildings over in that Springs area. Just park your car and then get it later. My wife will usually wake up and drop me off, and she doesn't even like come to watch the races anymore. I said, sleep in, I'll see you in a few hours. So, but
So if you're staying at the grandstands or something, you got to walk to that main central place
yeah,
before. Okay.
exactly. Yeah. So, but yeah, you pick it up right there, just like everywhere else has got the one spot. And yeah, because I know Saratoga shares a bus with Old Key West, so you will make the stop at Old Key West on the way back to your resort. But it's pretty easy, and that's actually one of the bigger benefits of staying on property. That's for sure.
I know most of the resorts share a bus, it seems. So I know we're staying at Wilderness Lodge. We stayed at Contemporary last year. Fort Wilderness Lodge, Contemporary all shared one bus, but it went very smooth and we never had an issue. So
yeah, I mean, they usually have a ton of buses, and like I said, runDisney. A lot of people complain about a lot of things that runDisney does or how expensive it is. The one thing that is really good, I've yet to experience any kind of bad experiences with is the bus service. Expo. I will drive myself to the expo, but when I was taking the bus to the expo, to and from race weekends, race mornings to Epcot, never had a problem with the buses. They do a great job, especially with the charter buses from Mears or whoever they charter them from. So they actually do a really good job with it. That's for, and they definitely keep it very uh, organized. You know what I'm saying? So when you get off, boom, I go right to Old Key West, Saratoga, and I'm home in like 15 minutes. So then I shower and go have some fun in the parks.
So you have a lot of Disney podcasting background. How'd you get started in all of these, and how'd you get hooked up and doing so many different ones over the years? And what brought you to the DDP today as your kind of your main source now?
So the funny thing was, I actually met the guys from Bob and Tim from Resort Loop, just interacting with them like through social media and kind of start up some conversations. And that was about the same time I started doing the marathon training in 2014. And Tim and Bob wanted to bring me on to talk about, I guess at the time there wasn't a lot of people doing the races, and I got on their show and I talked about the running and how I got started and what got me into running and what didn't, what got me into running and how I did during marathon weekend. And then it kind of just like one thing to another. And then next thing you know, I'm on their show a bunch of times, talking about a bunch of random topics. I'm playing golf with Bob down there, recording shows. We've done a couple of meetups with Bob and Tim. I know Bob is no longer on a show. That was Bob just wanted to move to Colorado and spend some more time with his family and stuff. And like you said, this is a lot of work doing these podcasts. You know what I'm saying? But I still keep in touch with those guys. I still jump on there. I got asked to be on Mickey Dudes. Did that for a bunch of years. I still talk to those guys. I still jump on a show if I can. And then the same thing with DDP today when I talked to Justin and Jason. A funny story is Jason Odegaard, who's one of the original hosts, who's not on there anymore. But I actually met him at the Polynesian, and we actually were boarding a monorail at the same time to Epcot. We were walking, and I saw a Magic Band that he had on, and then we struck a conversation, and we were in the same kind of social circles online, and got to know each other. And then I guess I done a lot of races in California and here, and they're like, "Let's come on, talk about your running." And I did, and I got to know Mike and Justin over there, and next thing you know, they're asking me to come on to be a co-host a couple of years later. And one thing led to another. So, and I have a blast with those guys. I mean, I'll tell you, I've been really blessed to be on a bunch of different shows and meet some really great people and have a lot of fun. I've learned a ton because nobody ever knows everything, right? And but I've learned a ton from people, and especially in the current show right now, we have Dave is a VIP tour guide with Walt Disney World, and the amount of knowledge this guy has is absolutely amazing. Justin and Mike, I mean, just great guys. Dan Rossi, who's a big Universal Today guy, Universal Studios guy. So everybody brings something to the table, and it's just a ton of fun. A lot of work, a lot of juggling schedules and stuff, but that's kind of how things happen. Just one thing from 2014 to now, just one thing rolls into another, and here I am. But it's a lot of fun. I love doing it. I'm a consumer as well, so I love being on shows, and I love listening to shows at the same time as well. So I met some awesome people throughout the years because of this, and yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting more people. Every time I go down Disney, I meet more people, and so it's a lot of fun.
That's a nice thing. The communities are all intertwined. I mean,
oh my God, yeah.
You post in one group, you see the same people interacting, so you kind of get to know everybody pretty well.
It's fun to meet people in person, man. When you're like, you see people virtually forever, you're like, "Hey, it's great to meet you. I didn't realize you were 6'5".
Right.
So,
yeah, I know of the DDP Today people. You're the only one of that group I met, but my daughter had the pleasure of actually going on a tour with Aussie Dave here back in January of last year, February.
Dave is is good dude, so much fun. I mean, his wife, the kids are absolutely great family guy. And like I said, his knowledge is of just Disney movies and trivia and just facts. It's just it's unbelievable.
Yep.
And we a lot of times we do our trivia shows and such, and I just feel like I'm like not qualified to be on the same like set with him or whatever. I'm just like, I'm just gonna try to sit here in the corner and talk about my resorts that I love. I'm like, I can't even like, I can't even like keep up with it. Funny story about that. We were on a cruise this summer. We did a DDP Today cruise on a Royal Caribbean, and we went into a Disney trivia contest, and it was so competitive that actually some of the questions, there was 2 questions that were actually incorrect, and Dave actually answered a question and corrected the guy who was hosting the trivia hour. And we won. We got a perfect score, but it was pretty impressive to sit back. And I just sat back, had a cocktail in my head, and I just said I didn't say a word, and I was part of the winning team. I said I'm just going to watch this unfold, and it was pretty funny to watch. It was a lot of fun, so it's pretty impressive.
Well, you're not going to lose to a VIP tour guy that with park information. There's just no way. And he's on cruises a lot too.
Yeah,
so his knowledge is extensive.
Yeah, he's been with the company for a while, and we're lucky to have him on the show. He's a great friend, and he's just a blast to be around. That's for sure. So I may know more about Saratoga than him. That's about it, or maybe in the golf courses. It's about it. Shout out to Scotty G, by the way. I talk some golf. But yeah, that's maybe about the only thing I know more about. Maybe be the golf courses and maybe Saratoga. That's about it.
So the golf courses there, how do they rate compared to other ones in the Florida area? I mean, there's golf courses all over the Florida area. What's the big draw with those ones?
I mean, I think they're great. I mean, listen, the draw is if you're a golfer, they were the site of many PGA Tour events from 1971, I guess, when the property opened, to I think 2000. Oh man, I don't know when the last event was there. Mid 2000s, because it was traditionally the last event of the year, and a lot of the PGA pros would bring their families to Disney World and stuff. I think it was the Children's Miracle Network, National Car Rental was a sponsor one time. The sponsorship just ran out and it kind of ran its course. But you're playing a PGA, PGA Tour course, where Tigers played, Arnold Palmer's played, Jack Nicklaus. So a lot of greats have played those courses. A lot of history there. They just redone the Magnolia, so it kind of took a little bit of the history away. It's gonna be beautiful, but at the same time, it's not the same. It's not the same. Course technically that that the greats have played. But I will say this: for the amount of play that those courses get, they're in pretty good shape for what you get. They're very busy. So it's a little stressful at times, but there's nothing better than going out there playing, if you're playing the Palmer Magnolia, which is the ones closest to the Polynesian Grand Floridian, and you hear the ferry boats on Seven Seas Lagoon with their horns, or you hear whenever the railroad gets back up running, you hear the Magic Kingdom Railroad. It's just fun to know that you're in Disney World and you're getting that experience, seeing the Mickey bunkers and stuff. So, I mean, they compare. I mean, they're pretty good. They're pricey for Central Florida, that's for sure. There's probably maybe a few better courses out there that aren't as expensive, but you're in the Magic. You're on the greatest. Was it the most magical place on turf? So as they say, but they're great. The service is great. GPS enabled. Pro shops have a lot of cool stuff, so it's a good experience. I personally like Lake Buena Vista, which is over by Saratoga. It's just a different kind of vibe. It runs its way through Old Key West and Saratoga Springs, and I love it when if you play in the morning, you'll see people having their morning coffee. I've been offered coffee before by people that are in their 1-bedroom studios or whatever. It's a cool experience with the villas lining the fairways and stuff. So I enjoy that course very much. But golf is fun. I know that I know there's a BOGP mini golf outing coming up. So there's so many cool things that you could do in Disney involving either mini golf or real golf. It's a lot of fun.
We've never done the real golf, but we took advantage of the mini golf during the 2020 years when we were there, just because the park shut down early. We didn't have anything else to do. So
yeah, I mean,
they're fun courses.
Yeah, I mean, even with I just upgraded my annual pass to include the water parks and more, and it includes mini golf. So I think I've been played once or twice. It's going to be worth it. So it's fun. The fairways course is really hard, but it's a fun experience. We did a DDP Today outing in the summer, and I got my butt kicked by a couple of our listeners, but it was fun. I mean, it's there's 2 different experiences. If you want to really challenge yourself, go to the fairways course. If you want to have a little bit more fun, I forgot what the other one's called.
The Fantasia,
whatever it is. Yeah, it's like more of the traditional mini golf. And I don't remember much about the ones over at Blizzard Beach. I've only played there once, but Yeah, I can't remember. I can't remember what the ones over there are like, but
The
it's
one's a
fun.
summer theme, the other one's a winter theme.
Yeah, it does back up though,
Christmas.
man. It
It
does
does.
back up. So get there early if you're gonna play. But it definitely it's definitely something fun to do outside of the parks. That's for sure. So
Yep. Now, I'd be in trouble if I didn't ask you Jody's one question she always asks the people on
sure.
here. Do you costume or not costume when you do the
Yeah, it's
races?
funny. I was listening to the show today. I was running. I am not a costume guy. I have a lot of respect for people that do run in costume, especially the creativity that's out there. I have a hard enough time just running in running clothes. So
Function
uh,
over style.
yeah, I'm very function over style. I'm Italian. I sweat, so like the last thing I want is to have like, I mean, I've seen the people that like have the monorails on both sides of them, like the cardboard. I don't know how these people run and do this, but it's amazing. You'll see great pictures online of people running in costume. I can't do it. I'm also not a jumper. I know you guys were always talking about that every show. If you're a jumper, I agree. There are definitely some muscles you could pull in the after you've been doing the same kind of cadence for 3 hours or 2 hours,
Right.
whatever it is. It's like you do something different. It's like, oh, I didn't agree. So I'm not a jumper. I kind of just smile and give a little like wave to the photo pass guys. But yeah, I definitely don't do the jumping because my luck, I would hurt myself. So
Good deal. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Just timing of that one was really bad.
that's all good, man. It's live. It's all good.
Exactly. You can't edit that out. So you're heading into taper mode, right? Are you starting your taper next week with most of the rest of us? Or you kind of extend out your.
I'm a little bit delayed. I got to do, I'll do another 9 miler next week as my long run, and then I'll kind of taper down. I'm not really using a traditional program right now. I kind of been bouncing all over the place. So yeah, I will do one more 9 miler next week, and I'm just kind of bring it down a little bit. So right now, I think this week I did 7 today. Tuesday, I usually only run 3 days a week. That's about all I do. When I did Dopey back in 2015, I had up to 4 days a week. So I was stacking runs and I was doing some tempo run and some speed work in there as well. But this is kind of like, I know I'm running with my brother. I'm not going to be running like I'll be up front, but like I'm gonna go to the back with him. So like I'm not really killing myself with speed work with doing that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm just kind of like just logging some miles, getting some stuff in. So this week I'll run Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. I'll run probably 5, 7, 9. And then the following week I'll start kind of tapering it down a little bit. I won't go less than I'll probably do bunch of fives, and then like the final week I'll probably have it done like 3 and then like a mile and a half just to keep the legs
Right.
it's really just I don't follow a traditional plan. When I was up in New Jersey, I had a really great running group and we did a lot of custom plans. We had some people that were coaches and stuff. And I was very lucky to have like people kind of customize some things for me. I'm kind of just like taking some old stuff that I had kind of, put away and just kind of making my own plan right now. But just try to get the miles and wake up the legs a little bit. Just get used to, being out my feet. And I'm probably about a minute and a half slower than I should be, but I don't really care. It's like I'm just trying to get out there. The first step back, I didn't run for about like 8 or 10 months. I mean, I didn't run. So like this is the first race back. So I'm just trying to just get through it. I want to run the Daytona Beach Half Marathon in February. So I got that coming up as well. So I just want to be in a little bit of better shape. That's all. So I'm not looking to set any records like I used to run hard, but just kind of I still want to be prepared a little bit because the miles are the miles, right? Every mile is magic that they always say. People are like signing up for marathons. They've never done anything before. I'm like, it's still a marathon, even though it's magical. It's still
You got to
26.2
respect
miles.
it.
Actually, it's 27 if you're walking to the start. Remember that. So you got a mile walk to the start too. But
Yep.
so it's still, you got to respect the distance. I still respect it, even though it's I've done many halves, but it's still a half, so I still don't want to have a
Yep.
bad experience. So we'll get there. I'll be tapering a little bit later than you guys, but it's all good.
That's the people in the Galloway plan coming up this week that are doing Dopey. More respect and power to you than I could possibly do. I've never actually made it this far into the training plans. Mine's still kind of modified out, so we'll see what next week brings me. But for the people who are actually doing week 25 and following the plan, Tuesday they got their 45 minutes, Thursday got their 45 minutes, Friday's a 5-mile walk, Saturday's a 12-mile walk, and Sunday's the 26-mile run walk. And I get the mental side of that as if you do it, you can do it. But that's a lot of time and miles, and that's a long time out there.
The race weekend is just the culmination of like it's just a cherry on top. I mean, this is if you're putting the work in now, that's the culmination. It's the easy part. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so it's hard. It's hard to find time to do it, especially it's easy for us down here in the South. We got much better weather. But when you're up north and it's like 5 degrees in the morning and you're trying to get up to do those, I was there. I've done that. I've put those fleece tights on and it's like dark out and it's freezing and it just stinks. And nobody wants to be on a treadmill because I heard the last episode people were trying to do treadmill work and it's awful and it's hard. But if you can get through it, it'll make your experience that much more better when you're down in Orlando. I mean, that's the thing. Just put the effort in, and you know everybody will have a good experience. I mean, that's the thing. It's so easy to say, I'm not going to do it today. I'm not going to do it today. But in the end, because you will see people down there that have not trained properly, and it's a mess. So even if you're just walking, time on your feet. Well, I mean, there's some really, really messy people out there. But I'd say at least get the time on your feet, get the walking, and if I could just give everybody, like your listeners that are doing, they know us, but like just take care of yourself that weekend. You know what I'm saying? Like the last episode, and I was like, I couldn't believe this. And I apologize for not remembering her name, but she was going to the boardwalk to get a brownie at 11 o'clock at night. And so I'm like at mile 5 or 6, like this morning when I'm getting my run in, and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm like, I would be exhausted. Like I'm up at like 1:30, 2 o'clock. And I'm like, she's just getting back. Like she slept for 2 hours before her race. I'm like, wow. I'm like, that's just like, so God bless her. You know, it's like, just take care of yourself, get some sleep, you know, the brownie will be there afterwards. But I props to her for doing that. I mean,
and she finished. I mean,
that's amazing. But I was like, I was tired and feeling nauseous just listening to that. So, but you know, just take care of yourself. You know what I'm saying? If you've got family and friends there with you, just remind them that you're there to see, you know, friends and have a good time in the parks, but you're the one that's getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning and sitting in a corral. And, you know, after 4 days, it takes a toll on you.
It does.
That's for sure. But
that was lesson learned last year for me. We did 48.6 miles for the races and we did almost 50 miles in park time. And I knew this year that this is a running trip that happens to be at Disney, not a Disney trip that happens to run.
Yeah. So I remember telling Bob and Tim on one of the old episodes of Resort I was on, I think I did 113 or 115 miles between a running and all my park time. Now, in my defense, though, I had stayed 4 days after the marathon. We'd stayed a bunch of days after, so I could just go, you know, blank to the wall. So I was fine. I was already done running, so I kind of like ran, then had my park time. So, but I did a lot of miles, man. I was like, ooh, this is I was tired, man, when that week was done. But it was fun. I'm glad I did it once. I have a lot of respect for the runners that do this every year, and the perfect dopies out there.
Right.
It's a lot, man.
It is. We had one of them on the beginning of when we started having a guest on for this, and that's more power to him. That's crazy.
I think the only person that won't have a problem is Ramen because he runs a half marathon every day. So it's like on his treadmills.
Right.
Like, dude gets me motivated. I'm like, oh, if Mike's out there running a treadmill, I can get out there and run 5 miles. I'm like,
and he's done by like 7 o'clock in the morning. I mean,
well, he's got to take care of his guests, I guess, right? You know, so that's a good thing if you're a client of his. But yeah, I mean, if he can get it done, I can get it done. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but it'll be fun. I'm really looking forward to, like I said, to marathon weekend, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, have a last couple good weeks, especially through the holidays, and get real easy to get derailed with like, you know, I got a holiday dinner, or I don't know if I'm gonna sleep in, whatever. But I just gotta make sure I gotta finish up strong, and so when I show up in Orlando and the beginning of the month, we're good to go and take care of business. So, and we'll do it again next year. So.
Exactly. We appreciate you coming on. If people want to reach out to you, if they have questions about your Disney podcasting or your different podcasts that you're on, your running experience, things like that, where can they find you?
Sure. I mean, Twitter, Joe Quatt, QUATT. I don't really tweet out a lot of stuff there, but I mean, I have that address there. Same address for Instagram. And I'm in like your guys' groups for on Facebook, Quatt Joe on Facebook. And then, believe it or not, I have an email address for DDP today. It's Disney Dad Joe at DD. Oh God, I don't know what it is now. It's been. I haven't got an email there in a while, but I haven't. Okay, I'll have to give you guys the address. But I think it's Disney Dad Joe. I'm sorry, DisneyDadJoe@gmail.com is the web address we have for DDP today. So you can email me there. Hit me up on Facebook Messenger or whatever. Yeah, if I could answer any questions about, my experiences or experiences out in California or whatever, I mean, I'd be more than happy to help. I've answered a lot of questions before. People have helped me out as well, or even about podcasting. I mean, like I said, I've been blessed enough to be a part of a bunch of really good shows and to be asked to be a guest on shows like this. And it's just a lot of fun to do that. So if somebody has questions about that, I'd be more than happy to answer as well. But we have such a great community in the Disney community. And I mean, I'm just happy to talk about running and golf and Disney and things that I love, and it's fun. So I appreciate you guys having me on. And I was really honored that you guys asked. I mean, I've listened to your guys' show. You guys get me through a lot of runs. I'd like to see, the Lizards is a great running community as well. So it's great to see you guys have a great show and all the great things that you guys are doing with getting people through their training, especially for a marathon weekend.
We appreciate it. And on behalf of all the other Ducks who couldn't be on here tonight with us due to different holiday gatherings and things like that, we just, again, thank you for coming on. And just remember, everybody, that forward is a pace. Have a good night.
See you guys.